As ever, Matthew Warren's here with it today. He's doing business and travel news today. In fact, roads in Paris blocked. That's what you're telling us, isn't it? It's a very French-style protest.
That's right. My travel news today is if you're trying to get into Paris on some of the main routes, it's particularly in the south and west, but everywhere is a bit disrupted, you might have some problems. And the reason is this. Now, these are pictures from this morning of tractors and trucks that are blocking some of these main routes. These pictures from the Val d'Oise region, which is to the north and northwest of Paris. Disruption getting pretty bad there as these roads get blocked by farmers.
So what are they protesting about, though?
Well, they're angry about a range of things. Now, those include a number of taxes, some of which we've talked about before. This one on heavy goods vehicles, for example, a VAT rise. Also, changes in the common agricultural policy and the way some funds are distributed. Well, with more details, this report from Siobhan Silk.
On Thursday, this cereal farmer is taking his tractor out of the fields and onto the road. With hundreds of others, he's heading to the French capital to protest against a tax on heavy goods transport that will hit many farmers.
We want the environmental tax to be scrapped. The farming sector is being hammered from all sides and we can't take it.
But the tax burden is a relatively minor complaint for cereal growers. Their real grievance is the future distribution of EU subsidies, announced by President François Hollande at the beginning of October. More of the funds will go to meat producers rather than the grain producers who make up the majority of farmers in the Greater Paris region. Those protesting against the change don't have the backing of the Farmers' Union.
Specifically on the EU subsidies, we don't share all their demands. We're mostly satisfied with policies that will in the end help bring newer generations into agriculture by giving priority to the men and women working the land rather than paying per hectare.
On average, French cereal farmers earned €72,000 in 2012. Beef producers made just over €15,000. The government wants to close that gap to ensure the beef sector has a future in France.
Yeah, that's the farmers' protest. Lovers of Beaujolais Nouveau, wine, of course, hoping supplies getting through those roadblocks that you were showing us earlier.
Yes, they will be, because today is the third Thursday of November, which means it's Beaujolais Nouveau Day, a day when, in fact, all around the world events are held to celebrate the latest vintage of the French wine. Now, these are some pictures from a bar here in Paris just after midnight when they uncorked the first bottles. Very successful marketing operation. Let's listen to some of those people enjoying their first taste of this year's vintage.
The party is just getting started. The party will be bigger tomorrow night rather than tonight. Have a good evening, everyone.
Allez, santé. Au Beaujolais.
I love it. Do you see his red cheeks?
Yeah, he's enjoying that,
Same
isn't he?
colour cheeks as your tie, Matthew. Not much cheer in the markets, though, this morning.
No, that's right. They need a bit of Beaujolais, I think, to get things going. We've seen most of the markets in Asia dropping this morning. Now, this is on the back of what we saw on Wall Street and the Federal Reserve minutes, which indicated this big stimulus programme is likely to wind down in the coming months. Just a bit of green there. The Nikkei, you can see, a weaker yen, in fact, which helped the market there rise up almost 2%, as you can see.
Aviation now fears for jobs at the company that owns the plane maker Airbus.
Yes, EADS, we're talking about, the holding company. Now, there are reports in Germany that up to 20% of jobs could be cut at EADS, which also has a defence interests as well. Now, these reports say that they'll come as EADS is integrating a number of its defence and security divisions. Could be 8,000 jobs, but no comments yet to confirm or deny that from the company itself.
And Airbus lost out to Boeing in terms of orders at the Dubai Air Show.
That's right. I mean, they did pretty well. They got $44 billion worth of orders, but Boeing did much better, got more than twice as many orders at this year's Dubai Air Show, which wraps up this Thursday. In fact, we can look at the numbers, see precisely how well they did. Boeing at $101.5 billion, as you can see there, dwarfing Airbus. And for Boeing, it's in particular this long-haul 777X that they've just recently launched that made up the vast bulk, around 95% of those orders.
And one attempt to keep that production of that 777 in Boeing's home state, in fact, of Washington, should we say it's backfired?
That's right.
Went a bit wrong, didn't it?
That's right. It didn't go very well. So let me explain. There's a group called the Washington Aerospace Partnerships, made up of businesses and unions. Now, they ran an ad in the Seattle Times, and this ad was designed to say, we want to keep production of the 777X in Washington state. But there was one major flaw in the ad. We can take a look at it. They put a plane at the top, as you would expect. There it is, the future of Washington. But that plane is not a Boeing, it's an Airbus. It's an A320. So red faces all round, I think, there on that one.
Slightly embarrassing. Matthew, thanks very much. Matthew with that business, he never makes mistakes on France 24. Up for you next, all the latest on that confirmation that DNA taken from a man arrested for a series of shootings here in Paris this week does match samples taken from the scenes of the crime. Also, the latest from our correspondent at police headquarters. Apparently, he also had written a letter. We'll have more on that in the next half hour.